Winning is not about luck. It's about leadership and discipline and the habits that unlock extraordinary potential. Well, today on Transformation Station, we're diving into the winner's way, what it takes to build elite performance in individuals, teams, and organizations. Come on, let's go ahead and get this conversation started. Welcome back to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast, where leaders grow with clarity and resilience and purpose. I'm your host, Adrienne Benton, and today's episode is for every leader who knows that they were created for more impact, more excellence, and more intentional growth. You see, the winner's way is not just about achievement, it's about mindset and culture and daily practices, daily disciplines that separate high performers from those who never tap into their full potential. I can't wait for you to meet our guest today because our guest is going to bring some powerful insights into what it means to unlock extraordinary performance and lead in a way that not just elevates your results, but also elevates people. But before you meet our guest today, I want to say thank you to you. Let me tell you why. Are you ready? Oh my goodness. Listen, I want to say thank you to you. Because of you, that's right. Give yourselves a round of applause. Because of you, we have pushed past the 4,000 podcast download milestone. Oh my goodness. I want to say thank you so much. But guess what? We've only just begun. So we hit 4,000. Come on now. You can get us to 5,000, 6,000. I know that you have the ability to help us to keep on going all around the world. So what this means is if we're in season 3, if you have missed even one episode of season 1 and season 2, I need you to go back. I need you to go back and allow yourself to continue to grow with Transformation Station. And don't be selfish, but share these weekly podcast episodes with all of the leaders in your network. And I want to remind you of one more thing. We have events that happen and take place. And so coming up in April 13 to 16, we have the second iteration of Lead Her Shift virtual conference. This time is Lead Her Shift virtual adjustment. It's happening April 13 to 16 virtually. You do have to register. Registration opens March 13. So I want to invite you to go ahead and save the date. And be sure to join us April 13 to 16. Tell all the women in your leadership network that they want to be a part of Lead Her Shift, which is coming up soon. Well, listen, today we have an amazing guest. I can't wait for you to meet him. We're talking about Chris Majer. Chris Majer is not just a speaker. He is a catalyst for transformation. He is a disruptor of conventional thinking and a guide to unlocking the extraordinary potential within individuals and organizations. As an Amazon best-selling author and founder of the Human Potential Project, Chris brings a wealth of experience and a proven track record of success. He is a guest who can speak to AI in business strategy, leadership, innovation, cultural transformation, and the future of consulting. It is my absolute honor. I am so happy to welcome Chris. Welcome here to Transformation Station Podcast.
Wow, thanks very much. That's the best introduction I've had in a long time, and complete with a bongo drum roll. That's not something you get to hear.
Oh, mercy. I love it. I love it. Well, listen, this conversation that we're going to have today, it's powerful. I really have been looking forward to it because, the topic when we're talking about winning, I was thinking prior to this that, winning is not for a select few. Winning is something that everyone can do, right? It's a process that can be practiced and modeled and multiplied, and the winner's way. So I want to start off by asking you this question. When you talk about the winner's way, what mindset or belief shift separates high performers from those who never truly tap their potential?
Well, let's just jump right into the deep end here. All right. So,
Yes.
well, needless to say, there's more than just one thing. But the fundamental, if we want to start there, the fundamental thing is the winners don't quit. It isn't any more complex than that. Everybody has a chance to take a step forward into the unknown, take a little risk. Winners, when they bump up against something, they go, oh, well, let's try that again. The people who don't win go, oh, I guess I shouldn't do that, or that didn't feel good, or I don't like that, and thus endeth the game. So the fundamental thing is winners don't give up. They just keep going. They persevere.
I love that. I love that. Here in Transformation Station, we give our audience an opportunity to stop and reflect. And Chris, he came right out the box, right? And so to everybody who's listening and watching right now, I want you to stop and really take in what Chris just shared with us. How does this apply to your leadership journey right now? One of the mantras that I grew up on was failure is feedback. Identity. And sometimes I know as leaders, we can get tripped up because if a mistake happens, if we didn't meet the goal, if a challenge happens, we take it on as in the challenge is who I am. The failure is who I am, as opposed to stopping and realizing that failure, that occurrence, that mistake is feedback. It's informing what's happening right now, right? Setbacks are data. Setbacks are not defeat. They ask, what is this teaching me? What do you think about this?
Well, that's absolutely true. I mean, in the end, my background, I came out of the world of sports and elite performance, right? That's my history. And so I use a lot of sports analogies, not because they're brilliant, but because they're simple to understand. But along your point, success is a terrible teacher, right? So if I'm a skier, right, and I'm doing pretty good, and I ski and I go all day, all weekend, and I never fall, I'm not pressing. I'm not pushing myself. I'm not getting any better. I might be having fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if I'm really committed to getting better all the time, you got to push the edge, right? You don't know where the edge is till you fall off it. And back to what we said earlier, if I fall, I got snow all over me. Oh, that's cold. I don't like it. Then I just go back to doing what I was doing. That's okay. Nothing wrong with it. But you're not going to get to be better and better and better.
So true. So true. A quote that I saw recently says, potential isn't something you find, it's something you build through discipline, belief, and action. Talk to us a little bit about how you saw that previously in your leadership journey.
Oh boy. Well, we talk about the 3 Ps: practice, patience, and perseverance. Okay. Now, this is going to get to be a little bit of a longer answer, but one of the fundamental problems that we as a society need to confront, right, is we've been sold a bill of goods about learning. All right. If you want to learn to be a leader, we say, well, okay, learning. What's learning? Well, it's the acquisition of new information, theories, models, beliefs, ideas, motivation, all for the sake of gaining understanding, because understanding is the holy grail. Okay. And we say, nay. We learned early on working with athletes, they're not stupid. They could understand all kinds of stuff. That doesn't mean they could do it. And that's the part that matters. It doesn't matter what you understand. What matters is what can you do, right? Now, our practice, our product is what we call embodied competence. Embodied means you can stop, you can take the new action without having to stop, think about it, or look it up. And competence is simply the capacity to consistently produce the desired result. Okay. Now, here's where everybody gets their eggs scrambled. While your mind understands, and understanding can occur in an instant, in the end, it's your body that learns. And the body only learns one way, and that's through practice. And practice takes time. No amount of understanding ever produces competence in anything. The only way you do that is through practice. And that's why most adults, frankly, don't ever learn anything. We're not willing to go through the process of putting in place new practices, being awkward and uncomfortable, and sticking with it till we kick our competence level up to the next level.
I love this. I love this. I love this. So let me ask you this, right? How do leaders create environments where extraordinary potential is consistently unlocked, not just in a few top performers, right? But across the organization. How do we do that?
Well, funny you should ask. So let's again take one step back and deal with the fundamental question, what is leadership? Now, here's what you notice. If you go to Amazon, any bookstore, get online, and you Google what is leadership, you'll get a gazillion answers, right? If you ask 100 people, 100 leaders, what is leadership? You'll get as many different answers as there are people that you ask. What does that tell us? It tells us that we don't have any agreed upon unified interpretation of leadership. Right? So we have a whole different take on it. That leadership isn't a thing. It isn't something you do. It isn't about charisma. In the end, leadership is an assessment that you generate in other people based on actions and behaviors that you take. So if I do a lot of coaching of CEOs, and I particularly enjoy the new ones. I said, okay, you got this you're a leader now, not a manager anymore. Now you're a leader. What is your fundamental responsibilities? And they'll go, give me this big laundry list of, I got shareholders and stakeholders and financials and da-da-da-da-da. They go, yeah, no. Those are managerial things. You got to let go of those, right? You're the leader now. And as the leader, you only have two responsibilities. Count them, 1, 2. Number one, you're the guardian of the mood of the enterprise. And number 2, you're the architect of the future. And you can't do either one of those if you got your fingers in all the little pies all the time. Now, to your question, what's the number one thing leaders can do? They set the mood in the organization. People in general in today's workforce are not stupid. They're not lazy. They're fighting against ridiculous systems that we've imposed on them that are left over from the industrial era, and we're not in the industrial era anymore. Now, if I know how to generate ambition and confidence and trust, right?
Yes.
You unleash people's performance. It's when there's lingering distrust and fear and resentment in the organization that it's never going to happen, right? So there's, of course, a deeper explanation for how you do that, but in general, there's your headline.
No, I love that. I love that. And as you were talking, I was thinking about this quote that says, recognize and multiply strengths. Leaders who unlock potential see beyond job titles. They identify strengths and position people to contribute in ways that energize them. And here's a quote that I love, and it says, extraordinary organizations don't find a few great people. They build environments where many people become great. And you see that exemplified across teams that are successful, right? Where I come from, we have a phrase that says there's no I in team, right? But very often, if you find an organization that's successful, it's because they found a way to build an environment where the team has shared responsibility for wins. The team has shared responsibility for challenges, right? Where everybody has an opportunity to be great. And to every listener, every leader that's listening and watching right now, we really want to invite you to take this seriously. As you look at your organization and how you're leading, do you have a culture and environment there where the people that you're leading have an opportunity to become great? There's no I in team. And we're talking about being elite. We're talking about being extraordinary. So, Chris, let me ask you this question. What habits or behaviors do you most often see in individuals who operate at an elite level? And how can others of us, how can we begin to adapt or adopt these behaviors or habits?
Well, here I think we need to be careful because what too often passes as, quote, learning is sloganeering, right? So we got a new cat poster or a bumper sticker, or here's my great quote for the day. Those are all entertaining, but they don't necessarily generate learning. And that's the thing. What the consistent winners are lifelong learners. They're dedicated to constantly developing themselves and their organizations. And if you want to be a winner in terms of leadership, you need to be able to have a different set of conversations than most people have, right? So as I said, first thing about mood, the axiom that we use is mood is everything. It's not the only thing, but it's everything, because if you don't get that right, nothing else you do is going to matter. Right. So people come in, they take the new role, and they've got their new program, their new system, their new process. Let me give you a simple analogy. All right. Have you ever painted the outside of your house?
Yes.
Okay. What's the first nasty part of the job that you have to do?
You scrape off the old paint?
Yes, exactly right. Because if you don't do that and you just put the new paint on top of it, what happens?
It doesn't last and doesn't look good either.
Comes right off. All right. Same thing here. If you've got lingering resentment and distrust and cynicism and complacency loose in your organization, and you have some cool news, you're the new leader, I've got my great new system, and you try and install it, it's got no more hope of sticking than that new paint on top of the old paint. You've got to clean that stuff out. And then, importantly, you've got to put in new practices that support whatever your new philosophy, culture, whatever. And the place where most people fall down is then you've got to have systems and processes that reinforce it. So people come to me all the time. They go, oh, hey, you're supposedly, the best there is about building teams. Can you take this group, division, department, company, and get them to work together as a team? And I say, well, I can promise you the short-term effect, but tell me about your compensation system. Oh, it only rewards individual effort? Well, then you can forget about having a team, right? Because the system and process is incoherent with the mood and management and leadership practices that you say you want to put in place. So there is, in fact, a methodology. It took us, as I say to people, took me 10 years to get it tuned, which is kind of embarrassing, and 3 minutes to explain it. But it hasn't failed yet.
Yeah, take us a little bit deeper. Tell us a little bit more.
Ask a little bit more about
how mood is everything.
Yeah. Well, moods and emotions are not the same thing. So people think they're synonyms. No. An emotion is a response that I have to something that happens outside in the world, outside of me. Like, we won't do this, but if you step on my foot and I'm going to go, ah, and depending on what I'm interpreting your motive, I'll either get mad or I'll just, be okay. But it's a automatic response to some stimulus. Right? A mood is just the opposite. It's a predisposition for action. Think of it that way, a predisposition for action. And people think, well, see, what kind of mood? You don't have moods. They have you. That's the way it is. They're like that alien on your face, right? They're so attached you don't see them. And the easiest, legendary example is, look at that glass. Is it half empty or half full? It depends on your mood. The optimists, the people who live in ambition, it's half full. The pessimists, the people who live in resignation, it's the same glass, right? But if I live in resignation, I am predisposed to doing nothing much of anything. The poster boy for resignation is Eeyore. Right? Little gray, there's not a right angle on him. Oh, yes, the sun's out, but it'll probably rain this afternoon. And you've got these people, every company's got an Eeyore. Yeah, last quarter was great, but we'll probably fall off a cliff this quarter, Yeah, sales are up, but it can't last. There's that kind of character everywhere. And the problem with moods is they're contagious. Right?
Yes.
And unfortunately, the negative ones more so than the positive ones. Right. So the question then is, well, okay, so how do I generate these positive moods? It's not by happy, clappy cheerleading. No, that's not it. It's not motivational pablum. You've got to be consistent in what's our vision? What's our mission? Real clear terms. Who are the teams that are assigned to do what? So clear responsibilities. We call them action cycles. What are the promises, the network of commitments that you're making and holding people holding themselves accountable for that generate work in the organization? Are we being consistent with compensation, rewards, recognition? It's the consistency across all those domains that begins to build trust. And that's the antidote to all negative moods, is trust.
Yes, 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 yeah. This is a masterclass that's happening right now, and I'm here for it. I love it. So let me ask you this, because I know that there are leaders that are thinking this, right? We're talking about winning and being lead and being consistent. How do winning leaders respond to failure or setbacks in a way that will actually accelerate growth instead of stalling it?
Very good question. The answer is simple to articulate, not so simple to do. Okay. Because in the face of failure, the emotions get a hold of you. And instead of going into, oh no, and the classic organizational of trying to assign blame and fault and all that stuff, really great leaders go, okay, let's take a step back. And the question they always ask is, what can we learn from this? We talked about this earlier. What's the learning here? How do we avoid this from recurring? Not whose fault is it, who did something wrong. That's the thing that we want to avoid at all costs, is making everybody wrong, right? Because when you think about it, if you're involved in something that failed or didn't work, who's the first person that knows that?
Mercy you.
That's me.
Right.
And who is your harshest critic? Oh, it's the same hand going up. I don't need somebody else telling me it was wrong or bad. What I need is somebody saying, here's what we can do next time so that does not happen. And if we don't know the answer to that, which is oftentimes the case, that's fine. But what you don't want is the traditional organizational behavior of we make a mistake or something and we try and cover it up. Oh, what? No, there's nothing to see here. No, that's the exact opposite. We got to uncover what happened here. How did it get off track? What do we need to do? What was missing? What conversation did we not have so that we can avoid that in the future? And the leader's job is to have those conversations clearly, cleanly, again, without fault and blame, but being really clear. We need to learn from this. Everybody gets to make mistakes. We want you to make mistakes. We don't want you to try and cover them up. What we don't want to do is keep making the same mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where the problem starts.
And I think that's a really pivotal statement to make. Everybody makes mistakes. If you are watching and listening to this right now, and a mistake has been made, you're in a challenging season, and you're kicking yourself in the butt, you got to stop. You're human.
It's a waste of time.
Everybody makes mistakes. No one is perfect. And I have found through my years in organizational leadership that many times my mistakes, my challenges, they actually were the catalyst that I needed to go deeper, or the catalyst that I needed to turn a different direction, or to actually really learn. It's one thing to tell your people, you do X, Y, and Z. And it's another thing for you to do it and understand what it takes to get that done. You then interact and engage with your organization and your team members in a totally, totally different way. I had a situation recently where I was in charge of ensuring that certain things happened. And then one day, the people that normally do it were not available. And so I had to step in. Let me tell you, after I had that experience of having to do it, I said, oh, now I really understand what's going on. Now I
understand what this is all about.
I understand more so now how to set the environment to ensure you have what you need, right? So, as opposed to looking at it as a failed experiment, why didn't they show up? Why did I have to? It was like, oh no, you know what? Thank you. I got this. Let's go, and know how to move forward. So, leaders, Chris and I are inviting you to really stop and assess your mindset, right? We're talking about how do we allow what appears to be a failure? How do we allow what appears to be a setback to actually accelerate the growth, not stall the growth? You look like you want to say something.
No, I'm just sitting here, mindlessly agreeing with you. Oh yeah, what she said. So, for all leaders, it's the consistent challenge. We've been steeped in a mindset that is left over, as I said earlier, from the industrial era about what it is to lead and manage and so forth. And the hardest shift is getting out of that mindset and welcoming a whole different way of thinking and being in organizations. In the old days, the value generators were industrial type factory workers, right? Work meant going to the factory or the fields and manipulating some object in time and space to produce a product. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what you needed was input, output, throughput, and management needed to be supervision because we had to be sure you did it all the same. Right. The workforce in those days was largely unskilled, uneducated, unsophisticated. Flash forward 100 and some years, we've entered a new historical era, and in my opinion, most everybody's missed it. We're now living in what I've dubbed the coordination era. The value generators in today's world are what we call cleverly coordination workers. They don't make things, but they generate value out of their effective coordination with each other to produce customer satisfaction, whether that's an internal or external customer, right? And the historical management practices of management equals supervision are really counterproductive, not to mention, to put it bluntly, it really pisses them off, right? Because they are educated, sophisticated, and they're mobile, right? They don't need to sit around and put up with, that kind of old school crap. They'll just take off. Right? So it's a whole different world, and you've got to reorient yourselves and your organization to this new world. Management isn't about supervision, it's about mobilization. What do you need to do to enable your people to best get their job done? Your job as the manager, as the leader, is not to tell everybody what to do. That's ridiculous. They know more than you do. As you just said from your example. Oh, now I understand. Well, yeah, they know what to do. They just need the resources and clearing the way for them to get it done.
Yes. So as we turn the corner on this masterclass right here, I want to go back to one thing before we ask the last question. I love what you shared with us, the 3 P's: practice, patience, perseverance. And to everybody that's watching, I'm going to invite you to go back and watch this on the replay and listen again to what Chris shared with us. This is a super duper fantastic leadership formula right here, the 3 P's, right? But I want to ask you this question as we turn the corner here. If an individual or organization wanted to start unlocking more potential immediately, what is the first intentional step? What are the steps that they should take?
Well, let's see. That's a good question. It depends a little bit on their circumstance, but mostly one of the fundamental skills of leadership that we don't put enough attention on is listening, right? So I would say start with going and doing a little listening tour around your organization. Listen to the buzz, listen to what's being said, listen to what's not being said. You manage the mood in the organization by being attuned to the conversations, to listening, not by speaking as much as by listening. And you'll begin to get a feel for what's the zeitgeist inside my own little world here. And out of that, what conversations of possibility can we have? How can I get, it's like innovation bubbles up from the people who are doing the work. It's not a top down. And so what are my people thinking about? What's on their minds? What do they see? There's something that we could do that we're not currently doing. And then let's get mobilized and make some new stuff happen. Give them some wins. They got to get some wins. Show them that by listening to them, you're actually taking what they're saying seriously and doing something with it.
I love that 1000%. Chris, they say the same letters in listen are the same letters that say silent.
There you go.
I love it.
I tell everybody. Okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah. You listen with your ears, not your mouth.
Yeah. And I agree with you. You learn so much more about what's really going on when you're quiet and you just observe and you're aware. You just have your presence. You're present. You're just there and you're listening. Right. And so that's wonderful. So, Chris, this has been an amazing conversation. I really thank you. I feel like we barely scratched the surface here, but this definitely is an inspiring conversation that for all of us as leaders, as we really take your words seriously, already we should be having the seeds that we need to grow and to move forward in leadership. I know that there are leaders that are listening and watching that want to engage with you, that want to find out about the Winner's Way. What's the best way to be able to engage with you moving forward?
Well, there's a couple things. One, simply, you can just go hop on our corporate website, which is the humanpotentialproject.com. You can go to my personal site, chrismajer.com, where I book speaking engagements and so forth. And propitiously, we're just about ready to launch sometime the next month. We're going to launch 2 new online programs, one of which, drum roll please, is about leadership. Right?
Yes.
I've been doing this for a really long time. So I finally figured, all right, the glory days of when we got to do everything live are probably not coming back. So let's distill what we've been building over all this time frame, put it into an online program. It's a 3-month-long leadership development program. So it's going to be out on the market pretty soon. And we've got another one that's a little more narrow focus called Into Action, because it's surprising to me how many people, leaders or otherwise, don't actually understand the mechanics of getting stuff done. You know, how do you really do it? You know, we confuse intention with accomplishment, and no, those aren't the same thing. So out there is, and you can go to Amazon, get my book, The Power to Transform. We used to sell them, but frankly, Amazon gets them faster and cheaper. So let them do their thing.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, leaders, you know, we love to support our guests. I'm going to invite everybody. You see the website that's on the screen right now, as well as the additional ways in which you can engage with Chris are in the description box. So I want to invite you to go ahead and tap into this resource. Also, I'm going to invite you to send him an email. Reach out to him, send him a DM, let him know that you saw that you heard this episode. Let them know what resonated with you and keep on growing, because we know as a community, when we learn together, we grow together. Chris, it's been wonderful to have this time with you. Thank you so much for enlightening us and joining us here on Transformation Station.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Woo! What an amazing conversation and masterclass, really and truly. Today's conversation reminds us that extraordinary potential is not something that we find. It's something that we build. We build it through discipline, through resilience, and intentional leadership. And if this episode resonated with you, I'm going to invite you right now to take one winning principle from today's episode and apply it immediately. Apply it in how you lead, how you develop others, and how you will pursue your own vision. Be sure to subscribe to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast. Every Monday and Wednesday, we have an episode. Share this episode in particular, The Winner's Way, with a leader who is in your network that is committed to excellence. And most importantly, continue choosing the habits that unlock greatness in you and in those you lead. Well, until next time, remember, the winner's way is not about being better than others. It's about being better than yesterday.